Hi there, my name is Kendra Clark. I want to share a couple things that I've been thinking about the last 4 weeks. Actually, I haven't really been thinking about them. They've come to me, and these are just thoughts that I feel compelled to share. And I'll tell you my story, but I think certainly it's not really about my story. It's not about me. It's about concepts and principles that have come so strongly into my world. For whatever reason, I just feel very, like I said, very compelled to share with whomever chooses to watch. And some things I say, hopefully will resonate with others, of course. There are some things I'll say that probably will turn people off. So, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. But before I begin, I do want to just, like I said, share a little bit about my story. That'll make a lot of sense as to what I'm going to say. Please forgive me, as I may not be as focused as I used to be. And this is completely unscripted. So let me begin. I think I said already that there's some things, hopefully, that will help other people. This is why I'm doing this video, because there's so many things that I've experienced the last 4 weeks that I don't want to say has changed my life dramatically, because I think that going into this experience, which I'll share more in detail in a minute, I was already very much in this similar mindset. But I do believe that for the way that I saw the world prior to my brain tumor, and I'm not going to say it's a near-death experience by any stretch of the imagination, but I'll explain what I mean. But I do think that hopefully some of the things that I say can just kind of make a little bit of a difference in somebody's attitude or somebody's perspective. Now, as I mentioned, forgive me if sometimes I might go different directions with my thoughts. Please forgive me if my speech is a little bit off. So I hope that I make sense. So, a couple things. Today's 1 month since I experienced brain surgery. And I know I explained a little bit on the video a while back, but I want to give some details that I don't think I shared initially that I think are very, I hope that they help other people. So about 4 weeks ago, I was in Texas and flew there to work as a PA for just a couple days, help a friend out, and it was in the middle of nowhere. And I was completely asleep at about midnight, Sunday evening. I was awoken by a horrifying experience. And again, I don't want to go into too many details of things that aren't pertinent, but essentially I had horrific pain. I really truly thought I was being, I don't want to be dramatic, but it's the only way I can describe it, is being electrocuted on my left side. It was the most horrifying and painful experience, from the very top of my head to the very bottom of my foot, my left foot, where I felt like I really was being electrocuted. So not only on top of the pain, I lost complete motor function of my left side, I lost complete sensation of my left side, and my cognitive ability to process what was happening was affected. So essentially all of that was compromised greatly, and I'm a neurosurgery PA, so by profession, so my ability to clinically evaluate the situation was compromised because I was becoming delirious. So essentially the grand mal seizure, the first one that I experienced, was extremely violent for me, and I didn't, in addition to all of that, my left arm and leg were having a seizure. I didn't understand it at the time it was a seizure, but my entire left side was seizing. So I couldn't grab the receiver of the phone. I couldn't dial 911. I couldn't do anything other than breathe. Just tell myself to breathe. Just breathe, breathe. Stay alive, stay alive, stay alive, because I wasn't sure what was happening with my body. And again, I couldn't clinically evaluate my own situation at the time, other than I really thought I was going to pass away. I really thought that I was not going to live. I tried to understand what was happening. The thing that was closest to what I can comprehend was that I was having a massive stroke. So that passed, and I then was still very delirious. And so I had fallen off the hotel bed onto the floor, and my mind had convinced me that the bed was electrocuting me. And so I was under the impression that the bed was doing that. So I laid on the floor for a very long time, and now that I know it's a seizure, I understand it was postictal. So basically I was out of it, right, for a couple hours, and then it happened again. And this time the seizure, about 2 hours later, 2.5 hours later, woke me up. And I was able to keep the phone in my hand, thinking, wow, I'm not losing it like I thought. So let me just grab my phone and take a video. So I was able to take a video of this experience and fully explaining what was happening at the time. Same pain, breathing through it, understanding my arm going to seize, understanding this sensation, understanding all of the loss of sensory function and motor function and all of that. So that was a process that I went through again. So I'm sharing all of these details because I also, part of this experience I want to share is to share the many miracles that happened to me and the miracles that I experienced. And so this is really important for me to share because truly they're miracles. And so as the second seizure finished, I still didn't know it was a seizure. I still couldn't clinically put the pieces together, but I did know that what happened was very serious. And I did understand that there is a real possibility that I would not potentially survive the next 24 hours. I didn't understand, but I do know that it was very difficult. A little side note, I'm not super well rested right now, which is why I'm having more difficult time speaking. Normally when I'm rested, I speak very well. So I just want you to know this only happens when I get like medium tired to very tired. So those that know me do know that I won't be like this forever. But anyway, so back to that. And so after that last seizure, I, being the feisty little stubborn person I am, I got up and took a shower and thought to myself, I feel fine. Like, I don't really know. I think maybe they're strokes. Fine. I'll pop a few aspirin and go see patients. So I did, and showed up on time. And I thought, well, 2 TIAs. I don't think I was really with it, but long story short, around 11:30, I started to become nauseated. And the people that I was working with in Texas, I didn't know well. So I asked a stranger if she wouldn't mind taking me to the emergency department, which she did. Kind soul. I just kind of said, I had these like 2 events in the middle of the night, and I talked to my friend who was a cardiothoracic surgeon. He's like, yeah, I think it was like probably, TIAs, whatever. I'm like, that is so bizarre. How in the world do I have a TIA, I'm a cyclist, I ride my bike, 4 or 5 hours on a weekend. What? I don't understand it. But nonetheless, this kind soul took me to the emergency department. And when I went to check in, I shared with the person, I said, I think I may have had 2 TIAs, and she said, what time? I said, midnight and 2, and she goes, and you're here now, why? Like, why didn't you come at 3 or 4? I'm like, I didn't really think about it. Like, my brain wasn't really thinking like it should. So fortunately, she called a stroke code, and I was in the CT scan within a minute, maybe 2. And IV was, thrown in my arm. I say that truthfully, thrown in my arm, and a CT scan. And I was in the middle of this small hospital in Amarillo, Texas. So that was done. They put me in this, I don't want to diss anybody here on video, but I will say this. I was thrown into this room that was highly understaffed. Basically, the EED doc comes in and he says, you know, you did not have TIAs, you had likely 2 strokes, and you have a very large mass. In the on the right side of your brain, the frontal parietal section of your brain, and we'll need to get an MRI so we understand exactly what type of mass it is. So, of course, being a neurosurgery PA, right, I think about the glioblastoma multiforme, I think of all these gliomas, I think of these bad players, and he leaves. John is on his way, flying to Texas. There's no visitors allowed. I sit there for 4 hours. Really not a visit from the nurse. I hate to say it, but it's true. I had to get out of my bed and try to find somebody in a hospital. I was in a hospital gown. Try to find somebody, make sure you ordered the MRI, make sure this is happening. Hey, by the way, can you check this? Or come see me. It was not a pleasant experience, to say the least. But nonetheless, I had a choice. In 4 hours, it was time for me to take action. It was time for me to take action of my mind. It was time for me to take action of my brain, right? To evaluate what was happening, to choose how I wanted to feel, to choose if I was going to choose fear, resilience, hope, faith, love. Those are decisions I had to make in that moment of time, just as I had decisions to make as I lay down on the hotel floor, to not be scared, to not allow fear to enter my mind, to only stay in a space of hope and gratitude and strength and faith in God. That not only was I gonna live to get to the emergency room, I'm gonna stay in a space of abundance because I'm not gonna let fear grip me. 4 hours went by before I had the MRI. And I'll tell you something, I share this because not many people have the opportunity to sit with death or to sit with really truly not knowing if I was gonna survive in that hotel room. Not many people have that experience. Not many people have the experience where they have to sit in this space of having nobody visit with them and say that, it's gonna be okay. I was around a ton of people in this emergency department, but I was 1000% alone, besides one amazing neurosurgery PA that came to see me. He says, hey, you're one of me. I'm here for you. I'll never forget him. But other than that, I was alone, which is okay, because you know what? It gave me a chance to figure out for myself, what am I made out of? Now, I am not saying this because I want comments that say how strong I am, or how this I am, or how that I am. I'm not sharing this because I need feedback. All right, I'm not sharing this because I want likes. I'm not sharing this because it might make me someone's hero. I don't want that. If you know me, you know I'm actually pretty nice, but you know what? I'm not saying this because I'm nice. I'm gonna say some things that might offend people, but I don't care. If you really know me, you know that I'm not here, or I'm not one that cares about what people think. People think I do, but truly I do not. I haven't my whole life. It's a beautiful place to not really give a rat's behind what people think about me. And so I say this because truly maybe there's somebody out there that sits in that space or will sit in that space and might look back on this and say, the choice is mine to say to myself, it's up to me. It's not up to all the comments on Facebook to get me through this. It's not up to the doctor telling me I'll be okay, as much as that would have been nice, but it's not up to them. It's up to you in that moment, that vertical relationship with God, that it's about the two of you to say, you know